This is Bonnie Buckaroo, intrepid citizen journalist here in Lansing. My story begins when I screwed up the taping of Monday night's radio show on WLNZ. Co-host Bill Castanera and I were interviewing Barbara Carter and Lisa Leggio and Lisa's attorney Joshua Covert. They had just come back from the Ingham County Courthouse in Mason, where Barbara and Lisa were on trial for misdemeanor and felony charges stemming from last summer's protest in Stockbridge against the Enbridge oil pipeline. Enbridge is the Canadian company responsible for the oil spill on the Kalamazoo River in 2010. It was a great radio show, but I only captured 25 seconds of videotape before I hit the wrong button. Wearing their black velvet MICATS ears, MICATS stands for Michigan Coalition Against Tar Sands, the two women spoke passionately about why they had chained themselves to the heavy equipment there in Stockbridge as a way to draw attention to their cause. Along with Vicci Hamlin of Michigan City, Indiana, the two women were facing 2 years in jail, and Lisa could face even more. I wanted to cover the story because I was concerned about comments Judge William Collette apparently made to Lansing City Pulse before the trial. It sounded like he intended to make an example of these women. He was quoted as saying, "I'm tired of people coming in here to seek publicity for themselves." So as the trial ground on, I grabbed my trusty video camera and headed to the courthouse on Thursday, not long after the jury began their deliberations. Judge Collette, who was apparently mad at another reporter, ordered me to take my camera out of the courtroom while it was in session.
With all this great support behind us, the Universal Unitarian Church, all the MICATS, and other supporters standing outside in these phenomenally low temperatures, holding signs.
I mean, throughout the whole day.
We pull up in the car and we just see all this stuff out there. We're just like, oh my gosh, we're just so moved and touched by all that. And I think it's really important if we're going to keep this movement growing, we have to support each other.
Waiting is hard, but the MICATS folks and their attorneys took heart when the jury continued to deliberate into Friday. Many of the readbacks concerned whether the women had defied a direct order from police or whether the police officer had just been asking the women questions.
And they've come back with questions. They wanted to hear more testimony. They wanted to see videotape that they weren't previously privy to. And so that's a really good sign that people are actually caring about what they're deliberating about and that there is doubt. And you have to, if you can't prove beyond a shadow of doubt, reasonable doubt, then you have to quit. And so...
And then where do you go from here? What is next on your agenda?
Tonight or in life?
In life.
Well, I guess that depends if we're guilty or not guilty.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, the MICATS will always quit. As long as there's tar sands and extraction and pipelines and refinement, the MICATS aren't going anywhere.
Oh, yeah. And even if we're not on the front lines, we'll be behind the scenes, we'll be doing the direct support next time.
Yeah, instead of the direct acting. And what's even great, and I feel victorious no matter what, is all of these people, you don't typically, this little town of Mason, you don't see protesters outside all the time. You don't see that. So all of the potential jurors, if I were a potential juror, I'd be like, what is this about? What is Pipeline 6B, this oil spill? I remember hearing that. I mean, the whole goal was to get awareness. So we're getting that out to even more and more and more people. So even if we're found guilty, we consider it a victory because that was the whole goal of what we did, was to bring to light the expansion of this pipeline and the spill and Enbridge and all of that. So I feel like no matter what.
Where the verdict comes in, what are your thoughts here on the eve of finding out?
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm
just
a little on sleep.
Just keep yourselves, inform yourselves. Don't take the mainstream opinion. Don't take the mainstream advice. Go seek out, the different avenues, like even college radio stations, and alternative sources of media, because we all know we're being lied to. I mean, like politicians every day, they make their promises, they get elected, they don't do what they say, and it just inform yourselves. This land is your land. Even if you don't see a direct, we didn't stop this pipeline, obviously. It's still being expanded. It's still being, they're still doing this thing. But don't doubt for 1 second the ripple effect of what you do. You throw one little stone and it creates a ripple. Do not forget that.
And ripples turn into waves, and waves turn into, a tsunami.
On Friday, tensions rose as a number of patrol cars rolled up on the courthouse. Rumors swirled that Ingham County Prosecutor Stuart Dunnings was considering filing charges of jury tampering against protesters who had held signs outside the courthouse that potential jurors might have seen. At lunchtime on Friday, Denise Heberly of the National Lawyers Guild met with the MICATS protesters at the Methodist Church behind the courthouse and assured them she would bear witness if they were arrested. I stood outside the courtroom from which my camera was barred when word arrived that the jury had reached a verdict.
What happened?
What happened?
They nailed him to the walls.
All three women were found guilty on all charges. Judge Collette immediately ordered them into custody. They did take them.
Right away, you couldn't even hug her or talk to her. They would not even let us hug her. They said per the judge's orders, we're not even allowed to hug her.
I caught up outside the courthouse with Lisa's attorney, Joshua Covert, who later admitted on Facebook that he had cried because of what happened. We view protest as an important right in this country. Do you feel it's threatened by decisions like this?
I do. I think the statute is overly broad.
There was also some question about whether they were ever ordered to do certain things. So that seemed to be a point of contention, but ultimately, apparently, the jury decided to...
Yeah. The jury came to a conclusion, apparently, that there was a lawful command that was given. It was our position all along that it was not a command, but simply a request or a question. And I feel that the law was drafted by the legislatures to use the word command as a specific purpose, or a specific word, and it needs to be a command, not a question.
Sentencing is scheduled for March 5th.